జస్టిస్ చంద్రు గారికి, అదేవిధంగా మన పట్టాభి గారికి,
I welcome all the members of the Bejawada Bar Association, the press, the
మిత్రులారా, మీడియా మిత్రులు కొంచెం వెనక వాళ్ళకి ఎవరు కనిపించట్లేదంట, కొంచెం అడ్జస్ట్ చేసుకోండి దయచేసి. థ్యాంక్ యూ. We are very thankful to you. We are not appreciating the person, but we are appreciating the thought, inner thought and struggling nature of Chandru. Again, we want to learn the struggling nature of Chandru.
kind for his 8 days argument in spite of his busy schedule, and from his speech you have just heard that how he has even the expenditure in the High Court, and he has spent from his pocket and fought for social justice. So we are very
their contention, yes. Their contention is wife and husband can take divorce, whereas mother and father cannot take divorce. That is their contention. I directed that. It is just now we all projected. I know, sir. Please give lift to the children, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chandra Garu. All the best. All the best. Please. No problem. Dear brothers and sisters, good afternoon to all of you. I deem it a privilege to be invited to your Bar Association to speak on human rights and role of advocates. Since it is this film which brought us closer to each other, I must draw a leaf or a scene from the film. When the film director wanted to take the film on the lockup death of Raja Kannu, he also wanted to show some parts of the life of the lawyer who conducted the case. Therefore, the protagonist lawyer was named Lawyer Chandru. Thus, I was brought into the film, and he wanted to know more about my life. In fact, the director wanted to include a documentary of me in the film, which I refused. I said it should be the life of the tribal and some lawyer or some human rights activists trying to help them. So the documentary idea was left out. Later, some scene which occurred in my life was also added into the film, like cooking myself, stitching the coat bundle, sitting on the floor and seeing the list. All these were added for adding flavor. But there is one important scene. That's why when I see the scene, your office bearers told that I will be your role model. After seeing the scene, I don't think whether you will accept me as a role model, because 25 years ago, I was expelled from the Advocates Association. I was an office bearer of the Advocate Association. I was an elected member of the Bar Council. But then, after several years, the bar said, we don't want you. That is shown in the film also. The protagonist lawyer will be participating in a strike, and there will be barricades, police barricades will be there. And when the tribal people case comes up, he used to jump over the barricade and go and attend the court. While attending the court, he will have a white band. Why there is a white band? You must know one thing. There are two things you have forgotten. One is every gown of the lawyer in the United Kingdom there will be a small pouch with a small mouth on that. Whenever any client engages a lawyer, the lawyer will not see how much money is paid to the lawyer. The coin will be inserted into the packet. Even now some tailors will stitch that pouch like our appendix in our body, which can be removed. Many don't want that pouch. Many want only cash. In fact, when photographers take pictures, everybody will say cheese to show their teeth. For lawyers, they always say fees. You can see the teeth of the lawyer. I am not denigrating. When the profession started, the idea was the lawyer should not go by the fees. He has to argue the case on behalf of the client, and the fees is immaterial. Whatever the client can afford, you must receive. And he should not see what is the coin put in the pouch. And that is how the profession started. So when this, the second thing that is this was, when a lawyer wears a black coat and a black gown, how will he show the protest? If a bank employee, an insurance employee protests, he wears a black badge. But a lawyer cannot wear a black badge because in a black it will not be visible. Therefore the lawyers wear a white band. That is why when Surya steps, crosses the barricade and goes to the court, he wears a badge. The idea was, he is for the lawyer's demand, but he is not for the boycott. The both messages are sent in that, and then he goes, attends and gets some relief. This is what I did after some time. I was a leader of the bar. I led many agitations in the Madras High Court. Some people used to ask me, will you jump over the barricade? I said, we have jumped over the wall also. That's not a very tough thing for us. We have done many things. But at some point of time, I realized if you want to defend the human rights of your client, you got to attend the court, notwithstanding there is a boycott. Tomorrow there is going to be a hanging, or somebody is going to be put inside innocently. Why not defend them? And it is that something like the role of advocates and human rights. If you read together, it has to have some meaning. And if this film gives you that meaning, I'm happy. And then I'm also happy that you have associated with me into the Bar Association, which bar denied me 25 years ago an entry into the profession. Actually, after becoming a judge, there was a strike every other day in our High Court. And there was a petition filed by the Advocates Association that this continuous boycott is due to police harassment. There must be a standing committee that should be constituted by the court, which will consist of high dignitaries, including judges. If you constitute a standing committee, and if there is a complaint of police lawyer problem, the committee will inquire, and once the committee inquire gives a solution, and if the lawyers don't accept that solution, they can think of some other protest. But the protest should not start and then demand later. The protest must be subordinate to the committee decision. That was what the petition was filed, and myself, Chief Justice A.P. Shah were inquiring. So Chief Justice A.P. Shah told me, you write the order. I traced all the strikes that took place in the High Court. It's a reported judgment, which you can see in 2007, all labor reports, you can see the judgment. Madras High Court Advocate Association was a state of Tamil Nadu. That judgment gives the entire picture of why strike took place, what form it took place, and what were the commissions that have been appointed, what were the recommendations of the commission, and why strike has become too often a counterproductive method in a court solution. When I wrote the judgment, we also appointed a committee in which there will be a High Court judge, there will be a Home Secretary, there will be DGP, and these three will decide whenever there is a complaint. It's only when the committee could not give a satisfactory solution, the lawyers can think of a direct action. When I wrote this order, I sent it to the Chief Justice. Chief Justice read the order and asked me privately, brother, how did you know all these details so beautifully you have drafted? I said, I am the author of the strike. I also told him, this judgment is a reparation for all the sins that I have committed. I am not ashamed to say that I find that direction of the action lawyers often indulges in more detention, more overstay in prison by the accused, and there must be some kind of a rethinking on our right to protest. I am not saying we have no right to protest. I have written judgments where right to protest is a part of a democratic society. But when you say direct action, I can give you an example. There was a Nepalese communist leader who was arrested in Madras High Court, Madras Central Prison, some passport violation. And then some police came from Jalpaiguri with a transit warrant, and an inspector from North Calcutta came to Madras Central Jail to take this prisoner to Jalpaiguri for some case pending there. This transit warrant was produced before the jail, and jail officials were about to send him. The reason for his being taken was not because of that case. The reason was there was 50 lakhs on his head fixed by the Nepalese government. And this inspector wanted to shoot him on the middle and get that amount. When this news came from the central jail by some prisoners that he is going to be about to taken away, somebody said you should stop this. That day there was a strike. And this information came at 4 o'clock in the evening. High Court closes at 4:45. Now imagine if this leader, who's number 3 in the hierarchy in Nepal, if he is taken by an innocent police with a PT warrant, on the way to Jalpaiguri be shot dead, the inspector will get 50 lakhs, but we lose one big leader of a party. And then what is your role at that time as a lawyer? I decided that his life is important. Our demands are there, but his life is important. So I went to the court, mentioned to the judges that there is an urgent matter. There was a late sitting at 6 o'clock. I argued the matter with my robe fully on while 5,000 lawyers were on strike. I argued and got a stay of his transit. And the High Court passed an order until without the permission of the court, he cannot be transferred out of Madras. Finally, he was later on released after 3 years. He is now one of the big leaders in that party. That I am not issue whether he is a leader or a very cadre. That's not the issue. A precious life was saved. I was a renegade. I was a betrayer. You will see the lawyers shouting slogans against Surya. The people also shout, you are a betrayer. I said, all right. For the sake of human rights, I am a betrayer. It's all right. That's it. So when I entered, when I was asked to give flowers to the portraits, I found Dr. Balagopal. I found K.G. Kannabiran, 2 of my most important friends in Andhra Pradesh. In 1980s, I went with Balagopal to meet the Chief Minister N.T. Ramarao at that time to give a petition. There were increasing encounter deaths in Andhra Pradesh. The police had a special cell called Cobra, and they can shoot anybody and no action will be taken. It was increasing because to put down Naxalism. That was what they were saying. And then Ramarao took our petition and said, I'll look into it, like any other Chief Minister would have said. But then what is looking into it? Many people ask me, after the Jai Bhim film, after the Jai Bhim case, did all these encounters come down? Did the lockup deaths have come down? I said it's wrong. It has increased. If as a lawyer I have conducted 15 encounter death cases, as a judge I have encountered 50 cases in my life. Therefore, what is increasing? Then people may ask me, what did you do then? But what the lesson I learned in this Raja Khanna case, I was able to use it effectively as a judge in the court. The difference is not the number of deaths have come down. The difference is our own efficiency rate. If in the Jai Bhim case it took 9 months for the tribal woman to get compensation, in my court it will take only 3 weeks. No adjournment. Even if advocacy appears, no adjournment. He has to file a counterclaim within a fixed time. In Raja Khanna case, if they gave 2.5 lakhs as compensation, in my court it will be 1 million, 10 lakh rupees. This is the only difference we brought in. What you learned, you practice. What as a lawyer you learned as a lesson, as a judge, you are able to implement. But the number of deaths, the number of unlawful deaths that can never be brought down by courts. It has to be brought down by human rights organizations. It has to be brought down by the lawyers defending for the rights of the poor people in this country, rights of the Garijan, Harijan masses of this country. Then only there will be some kind of a sanity in this country. Now, Kannabiran is there. Kannabiran and myself started in civil liberty work around the same time. For both of us, it was the emergency which showed that our life is not, I was a labor lawyer, he was a civil lawyer. He came from Madras High Court. He was basically a civil lawyer. How did he become a civil rights lawyer? How did I become from labor lawyer to a criminal lawyer? It is all because of what the country was showing at that time. During emergency, people were detained without trial in the notorious Misa. And then can you go to court? If it is Chinnappa Reddy, you can go to court. If it is Jeevan Reddy, you can go to court. If it is ADM Jabalpur, you can't go to court at all. Because fundamental rights were suspended. And the Supreme Court, it's a blot on the history of the judiciary. There is a black history in our judiciary that ADM Jabalpur shamelessly wrote, if fundamental rights are suspended, nobody can come to court. This is notwithstanding the fact that the high courts have got power more than the Supreme Court for any other purpose. A question was asked in the Supreme Court from the Attorney General. One judge innocently asked the Attorney General, suppose a man is shot dead wrongly, can he not come to court? Attorney General said, I am sorry, he can't. That is a case that we had, ADM Jabalpur case, which is the blackest history of our High Court, of the Supreme Court. Now thanks in the Aadhaar case, they said that is wrongly decided. All right. Justice Ganguly said, we are apologizing for the people of this country because the Supreme Court committed a gravest mistake that people cannot come to court. People can come to court. But how will they come to court? The lawyers fee, the lawyers help, or the lawyers are trained to help people, or the lawyers are only to make money? This is another question. Myself and Kannabiran, we had a fact-finding team in North Arcot district in Tamil Nadu. The fact-finding was that the youth of this country were shot dead by the police without an inquiry. Every inspector has become a judge. Every police station has become a court. And therefore there is a death sentence is the only order of the day. We want to inquire what is happening in North Arcot district. When we went to Tirupattur, along with some journalists, some college professor, a team of 12 people, we went to a lodge to put our baggage. After half an hour, the police in mufti, not wearing uniform, entered the lodge, threw our bag outside in the road. We were driven out. In our own country, two lawyers who have some standing in the High Court were driven out of the Tirupattur town. This is what happens. First thing is to ascertain the fact, which is very difficult to get because there are other forces which can hide the facts. Number two, this gave us an important issue that we should keep our eyes and ears closer to the earth so that we'll get the facts, so that the victims will come back to us, so that we can appear in the courts. We did not say that this system has to go lock, style, barrel. We did not say that law will become an illusion. It's a maya. We said as long as there are courts in this country, as long as there are written laws in this country, we should try to make use of the court. And law is a weapon. In fact, one of the dialogue in this film says, law is a weapon to get results for the people from the courts. And then some people may say, what court can do? If somebody is asking you a glass of water, I feel thirsty, will you not give him a glass? Will you say Nagarjuna Sagar has to come? The river dispute has to be solved. Will you say that, or will you give them a glass of water? I know coming to court is only a first aid. The surgeries can be done later. How many people can be saved by first aid? You ask any doctor, he will say some few help can save the body, can save the life. And that is what the role of the court. And this is what myself and Kannabiran, whose 75th year is being celebrated, were doing all these years. We were able to get some relief from this court. And that is also important. That is what this story was also saying. Suppose you don't give help. Now this Jai Bhim has raised the hope of people so much. Last week, there was a family from Anantapur, landed in my house. They don't know where is Madras. They have no money to come. They came, took a train. The whole family, a mother, son, her father and mother, 4 people. And then they landed in Central Station in Madras. How to find this lawyer Chandru's house? They don't know. What they did was, they cut a frame from the film. Surya wearing a lawyer dress. That picture they were having. They went to the auto stand and said, we want to go to this lawyer's house. And the auto drivers did not know Telugu. Fortunately, one driver knew, and they called him. His family showed the photograph. We want to see this lawyer. And then the auto driver took them and went round and round. After 3 hours, they located my house. They were looking for Surya as a lawyer, not Chandru as a lawyer. But they landed at my house. I asked with great difficulty, I asked that lady, why did you come here all this way, about 800 kilometers? She said, my husband has taken a second woman. He has driven me out with my son. When I go to police station, they are not registering a case. And therefore, we want to consult a lawyer. I said, in Anantapur, there are 1,000 lawyers. Why did you come all the way? He said, we saw the film. We thought lawyer Chandru will help us. This is, I am saying not with great heart, I am saying this with irony. I told that lady that Andhra Pradesh High Court has been separated from Madras High Court in 1953. Whatever relief you want to go, you must go to Vijayawada and not here. Then she said, I don't have money. I told her I'll give a letter, some to lawyer, he'll help you. But then we paid some money and she went home. I am telling this story only because people see the real. And then they think that real hero is everything. That is how cinema stars come to politics. Become chief ministers also sometimes. Whether it's Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. But then who can solve the problem of that lady? If every bar association has a human rights cell, I am glad that Bazawada Association has a cell like that. Why should people travel all the way from Anantapur to Madras? They should be able to solve the problem. Does the Bar Council rule, does the Advocates Act teach us this? It definitely teaches us. When I became a lawyer, I joined a firm called Rao and Reddy. It was started in 40s. At that time, Coastal Andhra, Rayalaseema, Tamil Nadu, North Canara districts were part of Madras Presidency. The founder of the firm, Mr. V.G. Rao, A.D. Venkata Reddy, Rao and Reddy, they were all trained barristers. They went to England to write ICS examination. They come from a rich family, but they didn't write IC examination. They became part of the Communist Party in Great Britain. But then to tell the parents, they did some work, they became barristers and came back and started this firm. This firm which started in 40s, which was catering to thousands of people in the entire Madras Presidency. Our firm, I am proud to say, never charge any fee on human rights cases under any circumstances. They were well off. Not everybody is well off. Today, first generation students are becoming a lawyer. They need money to support themselves. But money is not everything. Now, when this firm, when it started its work, Constitution was not there. Only Government of India Act 1935 was there. They filed hundreds of habeas corpus cases. But when the Constitution came in 1950, the first two Constitution cases were filed by Mrs. Rao and Reddy. The first case was A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras, reported in 50 AAR 187. Second case was V.G. Rao versus State of Madras. In A.K. Gopalan case, which was filed by Rao and Reddy, argued by M.K. Nambiar, father of Mr. A.K. Venugopal, the Attorney General. What was the issue raised? A.K. Gopalan was a communist leader, was detained in jail because Communist Party was banned. When the Constitution came, he read the Constitution and said, when I can move throughout the territory of India under Article 19(1), how is that by the district magistrate order, you are confining me in the Madras Central Prison? Very important question. He was not a convict. He was not a prisoner. He was a detainee under the orders of a district collector. He asked a simple question. If Constitution permits me throughout the territory of India, how is that I am kept in Madras Central Jail? This was argued before the Madras High Court, later before the Supreme Court, unfortunately by a very narrow reading, because there was no precedent. M.K. Nambiar cited several American judgments to say that procedure established by law is not mere procedure, it's a due process. The law itself should be a valid law. But the court rejected the case. But nevertheless, it showed that it was not Tata's Birlas which went to court. It was the poor people who went to court and said, give us the constitutional remedy. V.G. Rao was a leading barrister of the Madras High Court. His organization called People's Educational Society, which was a registered society, was declared unlawful. His bank account was frozen. He went to the court and said, under Article 19(1)(a), right to expression, right to form an association, if that is a fundamental right, how is that you are banning under 1908 Criminal Law Amendment Act, a British law, a pre-constitutional law? Under Article 13, every pre-constitutional law has to stand the test of the fundamental rights of the Constitution. Therefore, the second constitutional case was filed by Ravan, and he succeeded. The Madras Bull Bench struck down the unlawful activities declaration, and Supreme Court upheld it. I am saying this to these two lawyers who are trained in Britain, who are appearing for some poor people. When the Constitution came, they thought Constitution is a weapon, and we should make use of it. And they became the two landmark cases in the Constitution, and the first two cases. This is how you make use of the law. Nobody taught them about the Constitution to them. They were not studied Indian Constitution, but then Constitution became very important weapon. The second question that came, what do you charge from these people? They are appearing for Coastal Andhra people, South Canara people, Tamil Nadu people. How do you live? They were having civil cases, criminal cases, but they decided that if it comes to some public interest cases, they will not charge. Till today, that is the position. That is how a low role of a lawyer. What does the Bar Council rule say? In 1961, when the Advocates Act was enacted, the Bar Council framed its own regulation, the rules of practice for lawyers under Section 49. One of the rules says a lawyer shall fearlessly defend his client. What is fearlessly? Why should be a fear in a court? The fear need not come from outside. Fear can come from the judiciary itself. Today the Andhra government is feared of the Andhra Pradesh High Court. That's also fear. Fear need not be for a poor man. Even for a chief minister there can be fear. A enacted law can be withdrawn because the judiciary is biased, appear to be biased. They are not recusing themselves. And the government told, please step out from this case. That is fearlessness. Our office is the only office in Madras High Court which filed quo warranto against the judges. When Alagiri Swami was appointed, he did not have 1 day's practice in the High Court. Constitution says there must be 10-year practice. They said he is coming brought from back door. A writ petition was filed, and the founder of Ravan Reddy became the petitioner. It was A. Ramachandran versus Alagiri Swami. A lawyer from Mafsal Bar was brought in to become a judge, Krishnaswamy Reddy. They filed a quo warranto. He doesn't have a High Court practice. The court decided differently. But what is important was, when you fight a judge, you are bound to lose. He may not give you discretionary relief. He may treat you like an untouchable. All that you will have to face. I am not going to waste your time because your lunch time is there. I'll give you only one example. Now in 2006, when I became a judge, our Chief Justice wanted to make a yearbook for the High Court. So in 2007, we brought a yearbook. There are some history of the Madras High Court, some judges' history, and then several statistics about disposal, everything is there. One chapter he wanted to write on lawyers. He told me, Chandru, you write that chapter. Then before you write a chapter on lawyers, you must decide who is a lawyer.